What's up, friends? Today we're doing something we haven't done in a little while. Today we're doing a movie review. Hey friends, I'm Tyler. Welcome back to my channel. And yeah, as I said, we're doing a movie review because I didn't even realize how long it's been since I've done one of these. I just felt like this was the perfect movie to do this for. And today we're talking about Boar. And I'm not gonna lie. When I first saw this film and saw the title and decided I was gonna do it for a review, I was like, if this movie's boring, then I've got quite the pun ready. But honestly, it's not. It's really not. And yeah, let's just get into the meat and potatoes of it all. This is a Australian horror film. It's set in the outback. I love that setting just because it's always so beautiful. There's just a lot of really great shots, and it's hard to make an ugly film in Australia. Things can look a little different or whatever, but it still looks great. Also, my thing is just a little bit tilted, just a little bit, but whatever. It took forever to fucking try to level this thing out, and then I moved the camera up and it fucked everything up, and fuck it. Still looks fine. One thing I really love about this movie is that even though it's about a killer pig, essentially, pigs are boars. It's all the same thing, at least to me. But yeah, this movie's set up like a slasher, so I love that just because I love slasher movies. To the point that I didn't even know who our leads were, which is kind of an issue, but I honestly just wasn't sure because we were following just these different people, and then those people ended up dying, and it wasn't even done in a Nightmare on Elm Street kind of swerve way where Nancy's on the side. These are totally separate characters that never even come across each other's paths. It just made it even more difficult to figure out who the leads were. I did really enjoy that just because I like slasher films, so it's oh, all these people are dead. Oh, all these people are dead. Getting into the cast, so the cast is pretty damn good. You got Bill Moseley in a role that it's very against type for him because he's essentially just the stepdad that is just a good guy, and he honestly is kind of underutilized. I think he may have been cast in order to get funding for the film because he's that kind of a name. But if he makes it so far through the film that you think he's going to be a lot more prevalent than he ends up being, he just kind of gets killed unceremoniously. In fact, I think I was writing a note when he died, and I was just wait, what? Did he die? And then I was kind of waiting for him to come back in, save the day, because that's kind of what they set up his character to be. But that didn't end up happening, which was very odd, but I still really enjoyed his character in this. Another one that is, right when I saw him, I was I know that guy. And the reason that I know that guy is because it's Mick Taylor from the Wolf Creek series. Those of you that have seen Wolf Creek, it's the big Australian horror film, and he's the villain in it. So I think that may have been why I was a little confused as to who the leads were, because he was given a lot of screen time in the first act leading into the second act. And so you're kind of wait, it seems like he's going to be the one to take out the boar, or at least help take out the boar once he meets up with other people. But that doesn't end up happening. He dies in I can't even say a brutal way. The most brutal death is actually the one that he comes across. It's this girl gets the thing, the boar's tusk through the back of I think it's through the back of her head, but it comes up in different ways, and she ends up surviving that. So then she's just on the floor, on the ground, trying to still trying to still live, but she's well past dead. I don't know if anyone else thought this. Maybe it's just because I'm shallow. Maybe that's why. This girl, she's this blonde, just gorgeous girl who's with the most regular guy possible, and this guy's such a dick, and he can't, I don't know, it's that issue with horror films where it's just say what you're feeling. Say oh, I need you, we're in the Australian wilderness. Something could go wrong. Quit giving me shit for being like cautious, because this girl definitely gives him shit like over and over for really dumb reasons, and where he just kind of like explodes on her and he's like angry at her, and where it's like, well, that like it makes sense as to why, because she's not understanding the gravity of the situation, which she understands very shortly. Should probably get into the boar itself. Like I said earlier, this is set up like a slasher movie, so it's essentially the boar just killing things that like come into its territory. That's like what it's phrased as like in the plot summary, but it's not really like, it seems more like this boar is just hunting things down, because it's trampling over people's fences and stuff. So it's like, well, that's not really its territory then, if it's going into like other people, you know what I mean? It's not, they act like it's like, oh, he's just being territorial, but it's not really. It's going on a fucking rampage. And the funniest thing is that this is like a boar that essentially wants to kill things. It's not doing it for like the food. It's not it definitely appears to eat people like somewhat, but it's like he gets like a little snack in and then he's like, oh, gotta kill someone else. And that happens like repeatedly in the movie, where it's just like, this boar is just killing to kill. I mean, I guess since they're following the whole slasher trope, it kind of works. But the one thing that's kind of, and the reason I call this a slasher film rather than like a killer animal film, usually the like killer animal films, they try and explain things in some way, whether it's like a killer croc or killer shark. They try and explain like something about it, whereas in this one it's just like, no, it's just this animal that's killing everything in sight and no one really does anything about it. Because one thing I found odd was that you have these people that are dying and then you don't really see the aftermath. You don't really see, like, it's not like cops going after, like, looking over the crime scene. I believe it's the opening kill. It's these people that are they're in a vehicle, which they have all these like other boars come past, and then the killer boar ends up like breaking into their vehicle to kill them. So I was kind of expecting like a scene of like the aftermath of that, or even like a reference, and unless I just missed it, which could have easily happened, very easily have happened, but it's not mentioned. It's not like a thing of like, oh, something crazy is going on. The something crazy that they do talk about and is going on is fences being broken out, like busted over and all this shit, where it's like, well, if you know the fences are being busted over, don't you know about like the people being killed or like the animals being killed because of this boar? That's odd. Like, I know I probably said that a couple times with it just being odd, but it just is. It's odd. I don't get why they did that. Very just weird. But yeah, the nice thing about this is that the boar itself is usually practical. There's instances where the boar is CGI, but even then, this film was made in 2017. I have a really hard time criticizing the CGI boar, because that boar looks incredible. That's like Hollywood level production on that boar of like as of like 5 years ago. So it still looks incredible. I feel like honestly the only problem with it is it interacting with the things around it, and or lack thereof. So then it makes it feel even more CGI. But like the hair all looks good. Like the movement, it looks good, which we've come a long way to, because this is essentially photorealistic boar. And that's a big difference from like what it was, like what this would have been like 10 years ago if they had made this film with the same like mixing up practical and special effects, because it would have been a mess. It's just not something that they would have been able to pull off even just a couple years ago. One thing that I'm actually really excited about with CGI, that we're finally getting to the like phase where it's not fucking with the art, because that was my main reason for being practical over CGI, which I still prefer practical over CGI, but at least nowadays it's not like taking you out of the film. I can just appreciate that, and especially and I should say, it doesn't always look great. Just like the practical stuff doesn't always look great, but going from shot to shot, like there's more good than bad. They pull it off a lot more than they don't pull it off, and especially like there's times where it gets a little silly, like when we have our big brother character, the massive Australian guy. I believe his name is Nathan Jones. He's in like Mad Max Fury Road, and he's just in a bunch. I think he's in Conan the Barbarian, like the newer one as well. He just fits that role, that stereotype. Like he's even in Troy for those, like, it's that kind of high fantasy kind of look to him. And he has like this fight with the boar towards the end that is honestly just hysterical in terms of how much punishment this guy takes and how just ridiculous it is. This boar should have killed him time and time again, yet he ends up coming through, doesn't end up dying. I guess that's kind of one of the issues that I have with the film, because I really enjoyed it overall, especially the first half. It's really fun, especially when it's with Mick Taylor. He should be the lead in this. I should just be following him around. It's just fun when he's on screen. So I wish that they had featured him more prominently, but oh well, he's still in it enough. It's still enjoyable. Yeah, this director, I think his name's like Chris Sun. He doesn't appear to do much more than just like these kind of B movies in Australia. He has a decent eye. The cinematography, it always looks great. Good depth of field, so then it just makes it look more professional. The only issue is that like the editing could have been a little tighter. There's one scene where Nathan Jones is like loading up like a rifle or a shotgun or something, and we see too much of everything going on, where you're like almost expecting like, oh, he's gonna get attacked here or something, but no, that doesn't happen. It's more or less just like, oh, so why did we watch all of that? This seems unnecessary to see all of this. And just like any B movie, they don't really have a good grasp on tension. It's more just like overly relying on the music swelling up and telling us to be scared, which meant that nothing was really scary or tense about this, because you just be like, oh, maybe tone down that score just a little bit, because it's just very obvious and just didn't work as well. Didn't really add to it. It was more just like, oh, here's the signal that you need to be scared about something, especially when half the time it was just like, why were you swelling the music there? Nothing happened. Were you trying to add tension? Like, I don't know. It just came off as amateurish, which isn't bad considering that the film is shot well and it sounds well. So, I mean, it sucks that the editing couldn't be a little more crisp and a little tighter, but I'm sure that they were trying to stretch this out to get the 90 minutes, and that's just the kind of stuff you got to do. Have longer scenes of loading up a rifle and a shotgun or a shotgun. I honestly don't remember I think it was a rifle. Maybe it was a shotgun. Fuck it. I don't know. Don't care. I enjoyed aspects of the film, and especially just because, I mean, it's essentially a slasher movie with a killer boar. You can't really get much more absurd than that, but it honestly doesn't reach like satire levels. It still stays fairly grounded, which I think the Australian setting really helps with that. And yeah, this is a Shudder exclusive. It just got put on their service, and it's honestly just real fun. So if you're looking for a good slasher movie that's a little unconventional, then I definitely recommend checking this out. Yeah, that's really all for this week. I hope that you guys enjoyed. Let me know if you've seen this movie or plan on watching it, and yeah, I'll see you in the next video.
Hey friends, be sure to like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff, and check out this video that YouTube thinks that you would like.